Hello everyone, and welcome to another day of NGS action, and we are headed right back to Division B West between Bunker Funtime and Clouded Mines. Now, we're gonna take a look at the standings, but let me just tell you, at this point, the standings, the placements themselves do not really matter because every single team is so close to each other, with the exception of Macro Machines, I'll give it that, but 5 points separate the number 1 team and the number 6 team right now. Everything is still up for grabs. Anyone could end up anywhere. All gonna come down to this the last few games of the season. I believe there's still 3 weeks of play, and some of these teams still haven't played their flex matches, so we could see a lot of volatility there in the rankings. But for the ones that matter today, it's going to be Clouded Mines, 3rd place currently with 22 points, and Bunker Funtime, 5th place with 19. And if Bunker Funtime get a domination, they'll be tied for points with those first place teams. Clouded Mines, if they win this series at all, will be solo up there in 1st place. So, like I said, this division is super close. Anything can happen, and that's why we're casting this game tonight. And now the map pick and bans have already come through, and Bunker Funtime, the home team, decided to go with first pick. So Clouded Mines, they banned out Dragonshire and Tomb of the Spider Queen. But Bunker Funtime banned out Cursed Hollow and Sky Temple. And so the first map we will be going to, selected by Clouded Mines, will be the Garden of Terror. Now the Garden of Terror, as we all know, a really fun map. Definitely more macro based out of any of the maps. Very similar to Cursed Hollow, with a few very important and notable exceptions. And that the main one being that there are no bosses on this map. The only real objectives are going to be those garden terrors. That's all that there is on this map. There are a couple of camps. There's quite a few camps. I believe there's 2 siege camps and 1 bruiser camp for each side. So that can help with the push. But then the garden terrors are really going to be the main objective, that are going to be pushing in the lanes, that are going to be able to take down those structures. Now, we do have all the members already in the lobby, so we should be starting shortly. But it can kind of continue on to that point. There's going to be a pretty big emphasis on having those globals available, just because this is a big map. There's going to be a lot of fighting across the map. There's going to be split pushing. This is one of those macro-centered maps, so having the ability to move between lanes super fast, having the ability to match pushes, kind of cheat tempo a little bit. So stuff like Falstad, Brightwing, Dahaka especially, they're going to be very, very high priority. At least I suspect. I'm slowly but surely starting to remember what all the teams play, but again, because of the vast amount of teams that I cast, don't have too much consistency yet with it, but I'll make sure to be set up once the playoffs do begin. And on my new setup should be quite a bit easier, assuming I can get that set up in time. But we are going to be starting our game number 1.
Garden of Terror.
Let me actually remember to do my predictions this time. And it is Bunker Funtime versus Clouded Mines. Boom, let's get that going. But the band's going to be coming out right now. And like I said, Bunker Funtime, they did select that first pick, so they want to try and get one of those big priority picks. Again, stuff like the Dahaka is going to be big, potentially Brightwing. Anything that really gives push, anything that will give that priority on the map, that's what both of these 2 teams are definitely going to try and take, but Bunker Funtime especially with that first pick advantage. As Dark Knight raiding just in time, the series is only now beginning, so you can all even be a part of the prediction. Hope your series went well, as Junkrat going to be the first ban coming out of Bunker Funtime. And Anubrak going to be immediately banned away by Clouded Mines. Now, Anubrak, really solid engage tank, probably the best go tank in the game. Very short cooldowns. And lots of ease of execution as well to start those team fights. Now, getting rid of the Anubrak definitely going to lower the ability for the engage for Bunker Funtime, but it's not going to eliminate it entirely. There's still lots of tanks that can accomplish the same thing, just not quite as well. But Hog are going to be the second ban coming out of Bunker Funtime, and immediately the Vala is going to get answered. And Tiger Hots, thank you very much for the 100 bits. You're very welcome for the cast, and thank you for continuing to play Heroes of the Storm, especially within the NGS. I'm glad I joined this community. It's only been a little while. Still not even a year since I joined NGS, but it's been an absolute blast for me. But like I expected, Alumini Bree going to take the Dahaka first. And the Dahaka, I mean, for obvious reasons, I've said it before. I'm sure everyone in chat knows. Super good, especially on these big maps, but it's just kind of strong overall as well. And now Clouded Mind's going to lock in the Oreo for Ruffian and Joanna for Tempest Jet. And this shows to me that they are planning more of a death ball composition. Whether it's a 4-core or maybe a 5-core for the team fight remains to be seen. That could definitely change based on the draft later on. But they're going to have the options. They're going to have lots of different methods of just like pushing stuff through. But Maiev locked in for Plantfax, and Zednam going to lock in the Muradin. So with the Maiev, they have that playmaker. Anubrak was banned away, but Maiev can kind of fulfill that role of playmaker, especially when paired with the Muradin. That Stormbolt, especially once that level 10 hits, able to land on the 2 targets, can definitely push in the fight more. Plantfax is going to be able to pull them away from the minions so that Stormbolt can get max value. I'm kind of liking the team comp so far from Bunker Funtime, but I mean, the Clouded Minds one, granted they're only showing 2, they have a good start for sure. If they're going to continue with this identity of a death ball composition, I think they could go far with this game. But now they're going to ban away the Stukov on the side of Clouded Minds. And Bunker Funtime with the final ban of the game available for them. And I'm trying to think what they would want to get rid of. It is going to be the Sonya, so they're going to get rid of the Sonya. That would give them a pretty solid team fight, either engage or follow-up. So getting rid of that from the offlane could be pretty big. But there's still stuff like Leoric, which as I say that, Tiger locks that in. And Zul'jin going to get locked in for Trash Mouse. And whenever you're doing a Deathball composition, you do want one of those true DPS carries. And Zul'jin is definitely going to fit that role. Does a ton of damage. Doesn't scale quite as well as before, but also becomes relevant in fights much earlier on. And I think that's going to make a pretty big difference, as the final pick is going to be the Anduin for Cello and Hanzo for Raven X. And with the Light Bomb combo with the Muradin, going to be pretty solid 2-start fights. They have pretty good ease of execution. And Raven X is going to have that Dragon Arrow as well if needed. But now Rogue, the final pick, going to lock in the Deathwing. So the Deathwing's pretty interesting to me because, like I said, typically you want that Death Ball composition with Oriole. But Oriole can't heal Deathwing. So definitely lowers the impact that they can have, but either way, should be a pretty fun one as we get set for game number 1. All right, hello, welcome back everyone, and we are in map number 1 between Bunker Funtime and Clouded Minds. We are going to be playing over on that Garden of Terror, so big macro map, but Death Ball composition coming out of Clouded Minds, and I mean, I gotta say it's pretty similar for Bunker Funtime as well. Now, the one big difference is they do have the Dahaka, so they're going to have a pretty good time matching on the offlane and having a bit of a 4-core for them.
The gates shall open in.
And on top of that, they have a bit more poke because Plantfax has a lot of range on that Hanzo.
5,
But interestingly enough, it's actually going to be the
1.
the auto attack build coming through. So that's a pretty interesting talent build. I don't see that super often. Typically, I see the scatter shot. Every now and then, I see the Stormbow, but I have seen a couple auto attack builds coming through before for Raven X, but I mean, we'll see how it goes. Eventually, it does help with a clear as well. So maybe that's kind of the idea, having that faster wave clear, having that faster push. and maybe even sending Raven X into the offlane, because right now Clouded Mines, they're doing that 1-3-1. Tiger going to be in the top lane, Rogue going to be in the bot lane. And I'm assuming most likely the rest of this 3 core is going to be primarily focused on taking camps. Then our Rogue going to get pushed out. Raven X, Dichel, and Plantfax, the 3 of them all coming to this bot lane. But now the rest of Clouded Mines is going to be here. They spot out Zednum with a Stormbolt. Bullland Trash Mouse gets hit by the Chastise as well, but no follow-up is available. So both sides going to disengage here, but the priority is going to go over to Clouded Mines. They're going to be able to get the push. And then, in the meanwhile, over in the mid lane, Plantfax, Dichel, and Zednum going to be starting to push that out, as Tiger was able to cover the mid lane while they sent their entire roster to the bot lane, and will be able to catch the rest of the soak here in the top as well. So very good efficiency right now coming out of Clouded Mines. They're able to get quite a bit of value just in their rotations, just in their pushes. But both sides going to get started on camps. Bunker Funtime going to get started on Bruiser Camp, and the Siege Camp already going the way of Clouded Mines. And it looks like Bunker Funtime, they're just immediately going to get started on that second Siege Camp, just getting this push going. But again, because of that, Tiger having free time over in this top lane, getting some pretty good damage onto this wall. And this is going to be missed soak. However, Clouded Mines, they've only taken that one camp, and they're not really starting on any of their others. They're just trying to push away this Bruiser Camp from the bot lane. And I'm assuming they're going to get started on the rest of the camps after. Both the Seed spawning in 25. This does mean they either have to give it away, or they just have to try and contest without taking their camps, but that will lower the amount of experience on the map entirely. But Plantfax is going to get started on the Siege Camp, as Alumini Bree going to be matching Tiger now, but a lot of damage done to this wall. Not able to take down any specific parts of it, but both the gate and the bottom cannon tower are going to be quite low. There's a final camp for Bunker Funtime going to get cleared out, and Trash Mouse and Ruffian trying to finish off their own Bruiser Camp. So it does look like their strategy was just to give it away. They do have a Joanna, so they could just take the time to consistently interrupt it, but Plantfax is here with the shield glare. Just going to be so annoying, and that is one of the advantages of having that Joanna, especially on a map like Garden of Terror, where it's really easy to prevent the caps onto the points, onto those seeds. And now Clouded Mines, they're sending 4 members top. They have the Bruiser Camp, and they've already done good damage to this wall. And Tempest Jet even going to tank a little bit, just trying to get as much value from this camp. But Trash Mouse might have gone a bit too low. We'll be trading over to the backline. It is 4v4. They have the drag onto Ruffian, but Ruffian's still okay. Pulled back by the Umbral Bind, but they're able to survive. And with the Bruiser Camp, they're able to still push, is just barely dodging away as Alumini Bree getting pretty low there. But overall, good defense by Clouded Mines. They were in a bad spot to start that engage, but Plantfax low on mana, low on health, so this could be a push that they just continue forward. And they have the landing. Rogue gonna descend onto this top lane for it, and really, really solid macro play. They might even be able to finish this off. Molten Flame not gonna get used quite yet, as it does seem to be more of that auto attack focused build. And with that, that is actually going to be the first structure going the way of Clouded Mines. Really solid rotations, really solid starts there. But now the second seed is going to be spawning, and this time Clouded Mines, they have all the members they need to take control of it. They are behind a little bit in experience, but again, with the pressure that they're going to have from the top side, it more than makes up for it, and they're really not that far behind. It's just a little bit of a difference. But still, both teams kind of doing the pacifist run so far. No kills yet on the map, as Rogue is going to be down here just clearing out the wave. Zednum and Raven X were in the area, but would be difficult to take down this Deathwing, just the 2 of them. And the Siege Camp is going to get cleared away as their first one actually respawns, so they are still a little bit further behind on these camps. But Trash Mouse and Ruffian should be able to finish this off soon and still be able to contest onto this seed. But now the real movement's happening in the mid lane. 3 there for Bunker Funtime, just 2 for Clouded Mines. Tiger just draining hope from Zednum, just trying to stay healthy while clearing away this wave and protecting their Siege Camp. Now the seed is spawning, as Alumini Bree has a pretty solid push in the top side, and with a Brush Stalker, this could quickly turn it into a 4v5. And now that Tiger has shown on the top side, this could be the opportunity for Alumini Bree to start moving forward, as Trash Mouse looking on a Raven X, able to get a pretty solid trade there. And we'll be able to heal that back up. Raven X definitely has a harder time dealing with that. But Icello trying to get the turn and will get pushed away by Trash Mouse a little bit, as it is more of that spell power build. But now all 5 members starting to get it in place. Trash Mouse pushing on to Raven X. And Raven X starting to get pretty low. Forced away. So this could be a fight now. Umbral Bind is going to land on Trash Mouse, but Trash Mouse able to back away. And with a Condemned, Tempest Jet does buy enough space. But they're pushing it forward. The Twin Cleave not going to land too much damage. But the Entomb on his head down. But with the Dwarf Toss still available, we'll be able to get away pretty safely and pretty easily. But with that, Clouded Minds do have more than enough positioning to be able to take that seed. So it's going to be 2-1 for seeds as Rogue lands up in the top side and will be able to push this wave out as well. So again, both sides still doing the pacifist run. First blood yet to be done. But overall, advantages over to Clouded Minds. They're up half a level now, as the camps are going to be re-cleared, though, for Bunker Fun Time. They do have first move on those. They were faster to clear their first rotation, and they should have their second rotation even sooner. But again, every time they do that, they lose some of their structures, because Clouded Minds, it doesn't seem like they really care about their camps. They're saying, you know what, camps take longer to take down than these structures. So we can take down your structures and then clear your camps with the help of ours. And I'm really liking that kind of look on the game, especially for this series. But now the next seed is going to be spawning, and it is going to be spawning in Bunker Fun Time's territory. But again, it doesn't seem like Clouded Minds really care. They're just going to say, okay, take that seed. We're going to try and trade for your fort. Now Tempest Jet is going to be watching the Dragon Arrow, not going to land. So that's a pretty major cooldown already forced out. And now they're looking. They have the light bomb over to the backline. They're able to land it. And Tazdigo does get popped, but Crystal Age just popped over top of it. Gonna waste it just a little bit, but Ruffian is still alive. So is Trash Mouse. And so is the entire lineup here. They are going to be able to back away the Cataclysm over top of everyone. But Tempest Jet may end up being the sacrificial lamb. And that's going to be first blood going over to Bunker Fun Time. Pretty solid move for Bunker Fun Time. They had a really good angle to start that engage, and they did miss a couple of their tools, but the light bomb with the Umbral Bind from Plantfax definitely helped make that play work. And they're not going to be able to get too much out of this, just going to get that first blood and maybe a little bit of damage over onto these structures. But the main thing is Alamini Bree and Raven X, just with 2 of them, can take that second seed. So it is going to be 2 apiece, as now the Umbral Bind going to pull Tiger further back. But with the Wraith Walk, we'll be able to just back away slowly, and Ruffian is there to keep Tiger healthy. Alamini Bree also having that push on the top side, but Rogue there to catch the wave before any meaningful push can happen. But it looks like Bunker Fun Time, they're tired of being pacifists. They're going in. They're looking on a Tempest Jet. Light Bomb is there, but will be backed away. And just the chain CC, but the Crystal Age this time going to save Tempest Jet. And Plantfax going to get hit by that Twin Cleave. And Raven X sitting down, going to have a lot of damage going their way, and Raven X will get finished off. Now it's just Zendam and Cello. Tiger chasing onto the Sandwind. They will be able to clear all of him. It's a 4-0 in favor of Clouded Minds. Just as the final seed is spawning, they will be able to get these Garden Terrors on their side, and they're also just going to walk back and clear this siege camp while they wait for the seed to spawn. But now Ruffian going to walk in from behind and going to get that channel, while Tiger going to slowly but surely start that push on the top side. Now, Alamini Bree will at least be able to answer it back with his siege camp. It will help delay the push a little bit. It will help clear away these Garden Terrors a little bit better, but Trash Mouse dealing so much damage to these structures. They aren't even talents, but the Cataclysm going out over top as they're looking towards Raven X. Raven X is going to get feared into the wall. That could be their target. And Trash Mouse going to get the root, going to get the damage, and they have more than enough to finish it off. Now Zendam could be in a bad spot. Same with Cello, but they're both able to back away for now. Alamini Bree also going to be here, and with the drag, not going to be able to pull Ruffian behind the gate, but the Molten Flame, and with the Crystal Aegis, Ruffian is okay, and Detainment Strike will land, and Murden will go down. Zendam taking so much damage there. Just so much lockdown, that chain CC, and they're knocking on these keeps. Clouded Minds, they should be able to take this bottom one, and there's a bit of pressure happening on the top side as well. Tiger just pushing strong. Not going to be able to push as strong as this 4-core, but that's still going to be most of the wall taken down as Alamini Bree. Not going to be able to find him quite yet, but they have the stun, they have the root, and they're looking for the Dahaka, but they're not going to be able to find it. The Dragon Arrow did buy enough space. Ruffian was in a pretty bad spot, and the Deathwing also was taken pretty low, so we'll have to respawn there too. But a really good value in this bot lane. The keep is going to be gone. And they took both the fort and the keep in the bot lane. That's what's important to note. This wasn't just an empty keep that was available. And with that, Clouded Minds, their lead has exploded. Level 16 to level 14. As both sides just going to go back and start taking their camps. Aluminum Bree, with the help of the rest of Bunker Funtime, going to take their siege camp. Their bruiser camp is available, but they're not starting it quite yet. As we see on this top side, Clouded Minds already finished off their siege camp, but Tiger, and now with the help of their friends, going to be able to take the bruiser camp in this top side as well. And now we see that their entire wall did get taken out. A little bit of damage to the keep, but really nothing to write home about. But this middle fort, this is the one lane that Bunker Funtime have been able to hold out with so far, but with the passive pressure happening in this bot side, and now with Clouded Minds just walking into this bruiser camp, they're going to steal this away and just apply even more pressure to this bot lane. And I think with that, they will be able to buy enough space to either take this mid fort or take the seed. Or from the way they're positioning, it looks like they want to threaten the game here. They have the talent advantage. It is level 17 to level 15, still half a level left. But do they want to confidently keep moving forward? Because most of Bunker Funtime is here. They're looking for a Dicello, but not going to be able to find it. Able to dodge away. Now, Detainment Strike does land onto Zednam. As there is a little bit of trading. Dragon Arrow lands on the floor. And now Zednam in the middle of everyone with the Warden's Cage, with the Light Bomb, finding their way. But Ruffian able to heal everyone. They're still alive. And Ruffian needs to get more healing and will be able to. And Oriole in these Death Ball comps. That's why you pick Oriole into these compositions. And now they're not going to be able to end the game, but considering the Wombo combo that came out of Bunker Funtime, not losing a single member is a massive win already for Clouded Minds. But that's not to take away from Bunker Funtime. They were able to defend. They didn't lose anything with that push. And they have even talent here now for this seed. But Clouded Minds is going to be here first, and all major cooldowns have been burned by Bunker Funtime. So this will be one seed going over to Clouded Minds, but I mean, realistically, they were going to be getting this seed anyway. But Bunker Funtime will be able to live to fight another day with that Wombo combo working in their hands. But it does show that once they start scaling up, and genuinely, if they had their level 16 talents, I think they'd have more than enough damage to finish that off. And I also believe that Aluminum Bree was not in that fight. It's now Tempest Jet trying to peel back a little bit. Iron Skin's going to be there. And now the land from Rogue. They're looking towards Zednam, just getting a little bit of poke, but not going to be enough yet. As Aluminum Bree spawns in the back line. Now they have the Dragon Arrow with the drag. But now the Crystal Age is buying a little bit of time. Light Bomb not going to land as well. Trash Mouse trying to survive, but is silenced. The isolation coming in from Aluminum Bree. And now they're looking towards Rogue, but won't have the damage. It's a 1-0. And Leap of Faith to get Planfax back into a safe position. But with that pickoff, without Trash Mouse, they're missing most of their damage. So this seed should go the way of Bunker Funtime, and they will be able to spawn these Garden Terrors for themselves. But top lane's pushed in, bot lane's pushed in. Mid lane's the only place where they could try and get some kind of an advantage here. That's the only place where there's a short lane. Their wave is pushed out, and there's a fort available. But there's a fort available in all three lanes. And Aluminum Bree is trying to get this bot lane one open as well. Because even just getting this fort will at least reduce the passive push that Clouded Minds is currently getting in that bottom lane. But now Tiger, Tempest, Jet, and Ruffian already here in this mid lane. They're ready to defend. Trash Mouse just respawned, trying to book it into this mid lane. And now Zednam looking forward, looking for Tiger. Not going to be able to find it. Has the Wraithwalker to get a safety, as Rogue is going to land and will try to clear away this Garden Terror. But a lot of damage coming through this boss. They're trying to DPS down, but now the Dragon Arrow will land, but it's not on the targets they want. It's just going to be Tiger. Light Bomb not going to land onto anyone. It's Rogue going into the front line. Not going to be able to defend this fort, but they're not able to find a pickoff either, with a lot of cooldowns used by Bunker Funtime. But with this HP advantage, they could look to push a little bit further up. As now Tempest, Jet, and Tiger, they're all here. Trash Mouse was able to clear away this bot lane. But now the attack on the keep is still going to move forward. And top lane fort also starting to get a little bit low. And Bunker Funtime, they should be able to clear this one out. Aluminum Bree is going to join in. Just try to help clear the wave, deal a little bit more damage to this fort. But Tiger's already here, and most of Clouded Mine's already here, so they're going to be able to defend onto this, and they will be able to keep their top fort alive. But Bunker Funtime, like I said, their focus was on this bot lane. That's where Alamini Bree was pushing in before, and now Zednam even willing to tank this fort. But again, it's difficult because Rogue can land basically wherever, and the entire squad of Clouded Mines is roaming down to this bottom lane. So they only lose their mid fort for those Garden Terrors, but again, it delays the game. Now, level 20 talents are now available for Clouded Mines as they do look to steal this Bruiser camp again and maybe try that game-ending push a second time. This will be their last attempt where they have that talent advantage. So I do like the idea of them going for this play. And all they need is one good fight. It's one of those cases where if Clouded Mines wins the fight, they win the game. If Bunker Funtime wins the fight, they continue the game. So this is a pretty safe bet for Clouded Mines to do. It would lose their advantage, but it would not lose them the game. The Clanfax just trying to get a little bit of poke onto the backline. The Bruiser Camp is already here, and they have the Light Bomb combo onto 3. Dragon Arrow lands as well, and now the combo's coming through. Ruffian still in the backline. Both teams just trading very heavily as Taz Dingo gets popped. Trying to survive, just trying to DPS, and needs to back away. Trash Mouse is going to be pretty low, but is still going to be alive. The drag not going to land it. Again, the attempt not going to be sufficient for Clouded Mines. And with that, the top 4 does go down. So again, big victory for Bunker Funtime. They're able to get the fort across the map. They're able to get at least very, very close to the level 20s. They should be able to secure that before this game ends. With that excellent defensive play. And now this seed is going to be spawning. The siege camp is going to be cleared by Bunker Funtime. I don't expect they'll try to contest onto this seed. I think it would be pretty difficult for them to do that. So they will have to give this up. But that's still only going to be the second seed for Clouded Mines. So now that Bunker Funtime are even on these talents, they could just push out their waves, make sure that their map is in a state where they can start contesting onto these next plays. And it's all going to happen in this next seed spawn. Because if Clouded Mines get it, they're, again, going to have a pretty solid opportunity to end the game. So Bunker Funtime, they can't allow that to go over to them. And now they're going to be pushing with their siege camp, looking for this mid lane fort as Bunker Funtime, they were setting up a bit of a death rush. But again, Clouded Mines, they don't care for that. They're just going to keep pushing forward. Now the Dragon Arrow is going to land onto 1. Raven next, going to ride along with it. Looking for the engagement, and now Zednam gonna try to get a Light Bomb. Not gonna be able to land it onto anyone, but Rogue starting to get pretty low. Cataclysm is gonna go over top, as now the drag will land onto the Joanna. Tempest Jet still in the middle of everyone, as Trash Mouse trying to get repositioned, starting to deal damage, and Zednam starting to get low. Same with Die Cello. The Shield Glare not gonna be enough, but Trash Mouse actually gonna be the first to go on, as Alamini Bree able to get that flank in the backline. And now Alamini Bree still not done, but with the Detainment Strike, Ruffian says, you know what? Yeah, you are done. But that's still a big pick for them. And they will be able to retake onto this seed. And they will be able to prevent Clouded Mines from getting those 3 seeds and getting that push. But there are 3 cannons pushing down in this bottom lane. I don't know if it'll get any permanent damage. The shield is still pretty solid. And Alamini Bree is here to defend. I believe the next salvo would have gotten some permanent damage, but will be defended in time for now by Bunker Funtime. And now they also have first move in this bot lane. And if they take this siege camp, they could even look to just finish off this fort. The siege camp deals a lot of damage at this stage in the game. And Planfax and Zednam, they can both defend and tank onto this. And they will be able to at least take the fort in the bottom lane. It's not going to eliminate the pressure coming out passively from Clouded Mines here, but it will lower it significantly. And this bottom lane is also the only lane that's still getting pressured with those passive waves. So if they're able to get onto the keep, they could completely remove that. But even just having it be even in the top lane, even in the mid lane, it means there's only one lane that they really need to focus on. Now, obviously, waves can still stack, but it's not a guaranteed thing. It's not something that they will always need to keep in the back of their minds. Now, the next seed is going to be spawning in the top side, in the top left, so in Bunker Funtime's territory, so to speak, as Clouded Mines, they're definitely worried about walking forward. They know Bunker Funtime like those death brushes. But the seed is spawning in just 3 seconds. Tempest Jet gonna be clearing the way forward for the team. Tiger pretty close
I
behind.
suggest
So now the Dragon actually lands to the bot side, as I'm wondering if that was just used for transportation or if that was just an attempt for them trying to catch them out on their Bruiser camp, because that is the play the Clouded Minds have been doing for the most part. But now with this, they should be able to take this. They just need to be able to channel it, but Raven-X going to be here first. And now the team fight can begin. They have the shield guard. Alamini Bree almost gets the Dragon Ruffian. But that detainment strike was there just in time. And now Rogue is here as well. The root not going to land from Trash Mouse. So both teams still playing forward. Blessed Shield is going to go wide. So that's a major cooldown burn. And now the Entomb does land onto the healer. Zedam starting to get low. And now they have the Warden's Cage. But the fear is going to be coming through. And now Ruffian still alive. Trash Mouse still dealing damage to everyone in the backline. Dicello going to get pretty low. One more hit and that will be it. Now Tazdigo is pulled as they have the drag. But Trash Mouse is okay. And they will be able to take down Zedam as well. That's going to be a 2-0. And Clouded Minds, this is their chance to end the game. Now, right now, it looks like they're going to aim primarily through this bottom lane. That's where they have that open core showing. And their top lane was getting pushed in pretty heavily by the Siege Camp. So the Garden Terror will be able to push that out for them as well. And with this being 5v3, they can pressure onto the core and still have the pressure coming in from this Garden Terror in the mid lane. But the bosses are a little bit slow. 25 seconds until the healer comes out. As Tiger looking for the play, but the Entomb going to be just a little bit short. Not going to be able to find the play. Dragon Arrow will land just on a Tempest Jet, though. The drag is there as well. Plantfax forced back. A lot of damage coming out of Trash Mouse. And now the Garden Terror is on the core. They have the cannons on the core. They have the entire team on the core. And they're dealing so much damage. Rogue starting to get low and will get taken down. But it will be traded for the game. And Clouded Minds, they get game number 1. Well played by Clouded Minds. I mean, I said this was going to be a macro-centered map, and Clouded Minds have definitely shown that that's exactly how they wanted to play it. That's exactly what they wanted to have happen. And only 13 kills. I don't know what the game time was, but I'm pretty sure it was around 24, 25 minutes. So very passive game in terms of team fights. But the map movements from Clouded Minds, they were quick, they were clean, and they never felt the need to take the safe route. Whenever they saw an open lane, whenever they saw an open structure, they just pushed in for it. They took it for themselves, and then it kind of forced Bunker Funtime to fight at an off angle, one that's kind of more difficult to engage from. Still, a lot of close fights, a lot of good defenses coming out from Bunker Funtime, and we still got more games coming up, so don't go anywhere. We're going to go to a short break, and when we come back, it'll be game number 2.
Infernal Shrine!
All right, welcome back, everyone, and I do apologize for forgetting to turn the music on. No, I'll be honest, Wednesdays are going to be pretty long days for me now. But again, I will be a bit more tired during these casts, but I'm also going to make sure that I'm able to take on these casts, and I'm going to continue taking them on, at least if they have this late of a start time. Because typically I am officially booked from 5 to 8 Pacific, but since this game started right at 8, I could go right into it. And the draft for game number 2 is going to be starting, and now it is on Infernal Shrine, so a bit of a different map, bit of a different style to the play. It can still be played in a macro sense, but fighting is going to be a lot more important here. Well, that being said, Clouded Mind's going to ban away the Vala as their first ban. And incidentally, they did take first pick this time around. And when I say they took first pick, I mean Bunker Funtime decided to pick the map. They want to play on shrines. This is a map that they must have confidence in, as the Junkrat gets banned by Bunker Funtime and the Anubrak gets banned by Clouded Minds. So Infernal Shrines is going to be interesting because the objective itself takes a decently long time to cap. You need to kill 40 skeletons, and there aren't 40 to kill. So even if you have very fast clear speed, you got to wait for them to respawn a couple times until you're able to hit that magic number. And that's assuming you're not even contested onto, which most teams will try and contest, with a few situations where they can't. And Bunker Funtime, this time around, they're actually going to ban away the Oriole. Ruffian was able to provide so much clutch healing, and I mean, when we saw the Wombo combo land perfectly on Clouded Minds, but Ruffian was still able to keep everyone alive, including themselves, that's when I think it was pretty obvious that they cannot allow that Oriole to be picked again. But Tempest Jet gonna lock in that tried and true Joanna, was able to get that win in game number 1 with it. And now it's just going to be the interesting what the answer is going to be. So it is going to be Dahaka, still locked in for Alumni Bree. And the Garage for Zednem. Okay, so they're locking in their tank earlier on, and they're looking for that forward playing engage. But in the meanwhile, Hogger going to get locked in for Tiger, and this is Hogger's single best map. And now Hogger typically isn't quite as meta as Dahaka. Dahaka definitely just a little bit better overall as a hero, but on Infernal Shrines, Hogger definitely brings a lot of value and is not too far behind Dahaka in a normal situation. And Clouded Minds this time, they're also going to take the Anduin for Ruffian. So they're going to remove that from Bunker Funtime, force them on a different healer, and they're going to have their own opportunities for the engage. And if they pair that with something like the Hortipult coming out of Tiger, if they do decide to go with that heroic, it could be a good way to start fights. As actually, Asmodan got to get banned by Bunker Funtime. And Asmodan can be pretty good on this map, has really solid push in lanes, and is really, really good at taking down those skeletons, even from afar, even from range. Basically just one hits with a massive AoE with that Globe of Annihilation. And Cloud of Mind's final ban going to be that Sylvanas. Pretty similar reasons, though Sylvanas is also just really good at overall DPS. And when you have the Garrosh, when you have the Dahaka, you definitely want some big damage behind it. There's still a couple of strong picks. I'm not sure if Bunker Funtime play them, but Chromie is available. That's typically one of those big picks on Infernal Shrines. Also pairs well with the Garrosh. Has a lot of burst damage to start. But for now, we're going to see the Deckard Cain locked in by Dicello and Zagara for Plant Facts. Assuming I'm pronouncing that right. Apparently, I don't know how to pronounce it because people have been calling me out for it every now and then. But Zagara, that's how I pronounce it. Maybe I'll try playing StarCraft 2 during the off-season, at least the campaigns. Though I will say I am terrible at RTS, as my fingers can maybe manage 20 APM. And that's assuming I know what I'm doing, which I do not. But it's still a fun game. And Cloud of Minds, with their last two picks, they're going to take the Mephisto and the Tychus. Okay, I really like both of these two picks. A Rogue on the Mephisto, going to be able to deal a lot of damage, scales super well on Infernal Shrines as well. There's a lot of very big choke points that Mephisto just absolutely blasts through. And Tychus for Trash Mouse. Now, there aren't any big beefcakes in terms of HP on the side of Bunker Funtime, but Overkill is super valuable on this map. Odin is super valuable on this map, so even with the minigun not getting full value, it's still going to be a solid pick. And I was saying they needed someone to combo with Garrosh to have that extra DPS, and Kel'Thas definitely going to be able to accomplish that. So really going to depend on these two team comps. I think overall big team fights will favor Cloud of Minds, but Bunker Funtime have much more opportunity to get those pickoffs before the full team fight starts. Now with that, time to go to a break. But first, a little message from our sponsor. So I'm going to be honest with y'all. I have never seen that banana before until this time. I've never known what you were talking about, but either way, here we are in game number 2. But yeah, thank you to Legend of Mushroom for sponsoring this stream. There is a reason for the banana. It is meant to be a monstrosity. They're currently doing a similar event except with mandrakes. But yeah, Legend of Mushroom, RPG, Idle RPG. Download for free today. Even if you just install it on your phone and decide not to play it, that's already helping this stream and helping me bring more excellent content your way. But now, game number 2, Infernal Shrines. It is going to be Bunker Funtime versus Clouded Minds. And right now, Clouded Minds has split a little bit between all 3 lanes, while Bunker Funtime have sent all 5 members to the mid lane. Tiger currently sitting in the bot lane as Tempest, Jet, and Rogue started off on the top side. And I am interested to see what Rogue's going to go, and it is actually going to be the Skull Missile build. And the Skull Missile build, I think, is the better one for this map. Has a lot more scaling, is going to be much better in those team fights. And because there's so many enclosed areas on this map, just a lot of choke points, especially around the shrines, it will let Rogue cycle through abilities faster and faster as Rogue just jumping onto the backline, dealing quite a bit of damage to Plant Facts. But just going to be a little poke for now. And then on the opposite end of that, it is going to be Warbreaker. Going to get that extra damage, then extra cooldown later on with that quest. A Mana Addict coming in from Kel'Thas, just trying to keep the... get the shields and getting that extra mana, because Kel'Thas definitely going to be struggling a bit. 3PB mode, I could definitely do that. That's actually a good idea. because I definitely do get creeped out sometimes in some of these games anyway, and the creepy banana definitely has to exist. They'll probably won't make it a banana. Yeah, lots of quests this game, lots of hope as well, and that's interesting because it's not going to be that double shield glare, and I think that makes a lot of sense this game because the two main DPSs, Plantfax and Raven X, they're more casters than they are auto attackers. Now, Zagara is going to be able to auto attack at least a little bit, but that's not where the primary damage comes from. So the shield glare not going to get as much value this time around. But having this extra healing is going to come quite in handy during these team fights. Going to let the Tempest Jet tank for longer and longer in these big, long, drawn-out fights. But now the Bruiser camp gets finished off by Tiger. So they're going to have that push in the top side. And two camps going over to Clouded Mines in the bot side as well. So they do have the win at least onto that. But now Tempest Jet going to get hit by Living Bomb and will get thrown into the team by Zednum. I've never even considered that combination, but not going to be able to spread that Living Bomb onto the back line. Slightly missed time, but that's a neat idea. I've never even considered that before. As now Rogue just trying to poke onto the back lane. We'll be able to get another stack of unyielding power. Now, another thing that's interesting for Tiger is it is going to be the Rage build coming through. Typically, I have been seeing mostly the Dynamite build getting built onto Hoggers, but I think this one is a bit better for team fights. It's a bit better for those long, drawn-out engages rather than just trying to get some burst, rather than trying to get some split pushing going. As now Alamity Bree will find Tempest Jet, and the first Punisher is going to be available for the taking for both these two teams. But there's 5 members up here for Bunker Funtime and only 4 for Clouded Mines, and they know that. They see the Tychus on the minimap. They're looking towards Tempest Jet as Rogue is going to try trading back a little bit. They have the Scroll of Sealing onto 2, and Bunker Funtime will be able to retake the area. Now, they weren't able to find a pickoff, and Rogue is the only one that's still damaged, but again, with the well, we'll be able to get back to safety. As Tempest Jet gonna get hit into the backline, but that might be good. They have the Chastise as well, and the Hog Wild just bouncing forward. Zednam starting to get pretty low, but again, with that extra armor, not in too much danger yet. As Trash Mouse Alamity Bree is gonna land the drag, and that will be first blood going over. But now it's going to be 4v5. Zednam starting to get a little bit low as well. Staggering Blow going to hit into the wall. But now they have the Scroll of Sealing onto 3 members. But no one else is going to go down yet. The Skeleton still vastly favoring Clouded Mines, 27-7. So they could buy quite a bit of time. They have the Hog Wild. Zednam starting to get low. And the Staggering Blow not going to be able to finish off Zednam. As Alamity Bree looking for Tempest Jet in the backline with the Condemn, with a couple of extra hits coming through. Clouded Mines, they're still holding on to this as another Hog Wild coming through, but now they found Rogue, and they're going to be able to take it down. And without the Mephisto, they do lose quite a bit of damage, but the Punisher going their way, and they can fight even without Rogue, because the Arcane Punisher will have more than enough damage, will have that extra lockdown. Once it's in, root for that Alamity Bree, gonna be the one getting jumped on, has the Stasis Condemn, gonna land, and Alamity Bree will get finished off. So at least traded for 1 in the end for Clouded Mines, as they are able to take this objective, and they're going to be able to keep this push going. Now Zednam gonna tank the jump, but will be fine. The Garrosh is quite tanky. Dicello has potions for everyone just coming down into this lane. Now it's not going to be able to get too much damage onto the structure itself. They will be able to take down about a quarter of it. About a fifth of it. It's hard to say. But that's still pretty good for the first Punisher and the teamfight victory that Clouded Mines got from it. I think that's what really matters. Being able to take the wall is going to give them a lot of pressure. And with that extra push, they're going to be able to take all 3 camps on this bottom side. Now, Tempest and Trash Mouse going to make sure this mid lane keeps pushing. And actually, the bottom cannon tower also going to get taken down in this mid lane. As Clouded Mines will take their second siege camp. And now Tempest, Trash Mouse, and Ruffian going to get started on their third. The Bruiser camp was, however, cleared by Bunker Funtime, so they will have a passive push on the top side. And most likely, someone's going to have to deal with that, or it will be able to get some pretty good damage. Just Tiger mounts up and starts running all the way up. Rogue might be the one to go, though, just because they are much, much closer. And could even send both of them. Level 10s are getting close on the horizon for both these two teams. As Alamity Bree not going to get hit into the wall, but the Staggering Blow is going to force away the stasis from Alamity Bree. And Tiger will be able to clear this out, but still pretty decent damage done to the wall. Level 10s, though, are now available for Clouded Mines, but there's really nothing to fight for. So any kind of engage they could have started in that brief time would have been a little bit forced. But now Zednam looking for Rogue. Will be able to throw them into the back line. They have the taunt and they have the burst with the Phoenix. But Ruffian able to bring Rogue into the back line. And now Tempest Jet is going to be the one in the front line. And good look by Zednam. They're not going to be able to get the kill, but they're definitely going to be able to get quite a bit of pressure in this mid lane. And they will be able to finish off most of this wall. But now Trash Mouse looking for the back line. Rogue as well, just trying to get poked. And these Skull Missiles at 15 stacks now, 5 more hits. And the damage from them is going to go up. I believe it's by 100. So that's going to help get quite a bit more damage in these next sets of fights. But Alamini Bree is here just watching Tiger from the bushes. But not going to go forward for the engage. Tiger just going to try to clear away this wall. And that will open up an escape opportunity with that Hog Wild. Once that wall is gone, Dynamite just going to be used for a little bit of poke. But the real push happening in the bot lane right now. Living Bomb already going through. Groundbreaker not going to find anyone. Tempest Jet is going to be able to land the Condemn. But the Wrecking Ball throws Tempest Jet into the backline with the taunt. But the Light Bomb is going to be there, but not going to land onto anyone else. But the Durance lands onto Dicello, but there's just not enough damage to follow up with it yet. And this Skull Missile build, it relies on 2 things as the Shockwave coming through from Tiger, looking for Zednam, as now with the Wrecking Ball, gonna be able to take down Tempest Jet, and Rogue in a bad spot with the Shades of Mephisto, though will be safe. As I actually thought the Shades of Mephisto was the other way around. I don't know why. But that is going to be a 1-for-0 for Bunker Funtime. They're going to be able to get a pretty solid push in this bot lane. And they're getting the same value that the Punisher gave Clouded Mines for that first push. And they might even be able to get more, as now Rogue looking for some damage, looking for some push. But with the Shades of Mephisto, will be able to dodge away on that Flame Strike. However, Alamini Bree is hitting those skeletons, just going to start clearing them away. And with the Dark Swarm, should be able to clear it quite quickly. A little bit of poke happening. Tiger going to be on the site and let the spinning begin. And this is why this is a good hero. Just spin, spin, spin. But Odin going to get popped. And the Lornado as well coming out for Bunker Funtime. As now they're looking for the back line. They have Blessed Shield. They're found Dicello. Alamini Bree pretty low as well. But Dicello going to be able to be safe. The Wrecking Ball from Zednam is going to be more than enough peel. As now they're still pushing down onto this Garrosh. Ravenex walking forward, just trying to buy space for the tank. But they're only 6 skeletons away, so Bunker Funtime, they may even be able to just get this over the wall. Living Bomb coming through from Ravenex. And that should be enough. So that's going to be the Mortar Punisher going the way of Bunker Funtime. They've already taken down the wall. They've already actually gotten about half this fort down. They should be able to finish it with this Mortar Punisher. As Zednam coming in from the side. They always have their level 13 talents, so they have that advantage as well. And Clouded Mines, they're just going to back away. They're just going to give up this, and they're going to try fighting on behind their wall. Now, of course, this means they will likely have to give up this wall, because PlantVac's going to be really fast at pushing, and with it, Phoenix going to be able to buy quite a bit more space, too. Divine Star going to be used for healing, but again, Tempest Jet and Trash Mouth, they're getting hit so hard by this Mortar Punisher. Now they're going to back away. They're going to take this bottom wall and call it a day. And there are siege camps that they can take pretty freely. But it looks like they're pushing towards mid lane instead. It looks like they're considering just tanking this up. And Zednam is a bit of a chat. And with the Hydralisks, with the Roaches, they could threaten it, but not going to be able to, as Clouded Mines is already here to answer. But they're not there to answer the third lane, where Alamini Bree still getting a little bit of a passive push, a little bit of damage onto this fort. Won't be able to take it down yet, but that's permanent damage. That's going to be something that will amount to a broken fort in the end, most likely anyway. Now, Clouded Mines, they took their camp. They're going to get started on this bottom siege camp as well. About half a level lead for Bunker Funtime, slightly less even. As Alamini Bree will be able to finish off the fort in the top side. So kind of a trade for that siege camp, as Clouded Mines will be able to take theirs in the bot lane. But, I mean, obviously you're going to take that fort any day of the week. And Alamini Bree could even steal away this Bruiser camp. So that's going to be a lot of advantages going the way of Bunker Funtime. However, Tiger's already rotating up, so Alamini Bree going to have to back away there and not take this Bruiser camp. Could have been a good steal, though. So even the idea of threatening it is enough to get Cloud of Mines to back away from the bottom lane, back away from any lane that they have these mercenaries pushing in, and kind of ease up a bit on the pressure. But now Aluminum Brie gonna at least secure their own bruiser camps, so it will get matched in this top side. But Cloud of Mines kind of in the same position that they put Bunker Funtime in game number 1. They're getting pushed in passively in 2 of these lanes. But the main difference, though, is Bunker Funtime. They're still the ones with the Dahaka. So there is no global for Cloud of Mines. They don't have a quick answer to be able to push away those lanes. Whoever they send is going to be late to any fight, to any pressure that could be coming out of Bunker Funtime. And bit by bit, they are going to be pushing in that way. Level 16 talents now available, so they have a short power play. But again, Cloud of Mines, they're playing back. They're playing safe. They know they're behind right now, as the Phoenix is going to be coming through, as they looks like they do want to try pushing in on this a little bit. But Blessed Shield going to land onto 3, and they have the Shockwave in the backline. They are looking for a plan fact, but the Tornado buying so much space, as Zednam gonna get tanked up, but with the healing gonna be more than enough for now. But no, Zednam will get finished off. Level 16 is now up for Cloud of Mines, and they have the Durance. Raven X starting it low, and Tiger with one more stacking blow will be able to finish it off, as Trash Mouse just in the backline, DPSing onto Planfax, needs a couple more hits, but the drag will land, and that should be Trash Mouse going down, and the final hit from the fort will be more than enough. So it's still a 2-for-1 for Cloud of Mines. However, Bruiser Camp, Cannon, pushing out in the top side. Rogue has to go back and defend it. Level 16 talent, though, is now available for Rogue. And this is where there's a little bit of a change on the Mephisto. This is a massive talent here. This is where the Mephisto has scaled. Now, the only issue is typically you want that with the completed unyielding power, but only 24 out of the 40 stacks. Still a little bit away from it. But the lightning reaction, it's still going to be able to provide quite a bit of damage. They have quite a bit of damage jumping on. Aluminum Brie goes into stasis, and now the Durance lands, but immediately cleansed out by Zednam. That's how the Hog Wild still coming through, still just dealing damage to everyone. Phoenix going to get popped as well for the zoning. And now they have the Light Bomb. It lands onto the backline, and they're still DPSing so hard, but Tempest Jet going to get hit by the isolation. Rogue just dealing so much damage on the backline, and that's why the Mephisto at level 16 is so strong. Now Shockwave not going to be able to land. Dicello able to sidestep it, but that's still going to be the objective going to Cloud of Mines. They're going to have a push with the Punisher. It's 5v4 on the map, but Tiger going to have to run up to the top side because they did lose their wall for it. But even so, that's still worth it. They're definitely going to be able to take this fort. And Bunker Funtime, when they did an equivalent push, they managed to get the wall in this bot lane, that keep lane wall. And now Frozen Punisher, not quite as good at taking down the structures, but is going to be very good at pushing in, just keeping everyone else from defending. They have Odin popped as well. Rogue just trying to deal as much damage as possible. The wall is going to go down, and they could even turn and look a little bit at this keep. Now Trash Mouse focusing more onto Raven X, getting quite a bit of damage in the back line, as the Phoenix is going to get popped. Durance of Hate looking for the backline, only going to find Zednam, and that's not the target they want to go for, especially trying to get onto the backline to find the Garrosh. May not be the best play, but that's a lot of damage on this mid lane keep. Starting to get very low, but again, push happening in the bot side. Clouded Mind's going to have to answer this. Now, Tiger was able to get a bit of a push in the top side, but again, the Cannon's just going to be there to defend. Crash Mouse just trying to clear this camp at the very least, letting the fort deal with everything else. But with the Tornado and the pressure from these waves, Bunker Funtime, they're going to be able to steal another siege camp. However, they no longer have that half-level lead. It is just going to be about even. But they are using this map pressure to take this mid lane fort. So any kind of advantage that Cloud of Mines finally got with the last push is going to be gone. They're not going to have that passive push in the mid lane. Though this Cannon trying to fix that, actually getting quite a bit of damage onto this. And there's no one here to deal with it. But the fight could be breaking out for this Bruiser camp. Zednam is going to be here. They see it. Tempest Jet trying to pull everyone back. They have the Chastise onto the backline. Durance of Hate as well, but cleansed out immediately. Now Light Bomb only going to land onto Aluminum Brie. And the mid lane keep actually did go down during this, but now the team fight still coming through. The Chastise going to land with the Blessed Shield as well. They're able to get one. They're able to get two. As Zednam's still alive, but the final Skull Missile going to be able to get that. It's going to be 3-0. An unyielding power talent is going to be done. Raven X, 400 HP. Tiger coming in from the side. Raven X needs to run, but the Hog Wild coming through, not going to be able to find the angle. as Rogue gets mounted up, looking for Raven X. Planfax is there as well. But Rogue just trying to keep them from resetting, because right now, Clouded Minds, they're walking through the mid lane. They want to try and end this game. They know their bot lane is going to be pushing in. They know their top is going to be pushing in. Why try and get an advantage there when you can just end it all? Now, Raven X is going to be taken down a little bit, but Trash Mouse will be able to dodge away as Endurance almost in range for Raven X, but not going to be found. Living Bomb spreading between all members. Phoenix trying to zone away as well, and they might be able to defend it. This is going to be pretty close. They have the root. Tempest Jet starting to get low, but the shield is going to be coming through for the team. Trash Mouse just jumping on to Plantfax. The Rogue still dealing damage. They have the root. They're looking for the play. Raven X will go down. Shockwave as well, and that will be it. Clouded Minds, they come back and they get the domination. Really, really well played by Clouded Minds. I mean, Bunker Funtime, they had the lead for most of the game, and it was just that one fight with the mid lane already pushed in for CM, and they knew, we already got 3 of you. Rogue was able to defend 2 of you from coming back to defend for a long time, and they were able to just walk it in, take the second map, and more importantly, take the 4 points, as this will put Clouded Minds back in that first place position of B West. And now I'm going to try and find an interview, so give me one moment while I get that set up. And I will let you stare at me while I do so. That's not even the right server. Okay, there we go. This is the right server. All right, I have sent the ping, and now we're just waiting on the reply. But either way, that was a pretty fun series. That was a really close game too, especially. I mean, like I always say, B West always delivers. This was definitely a more passive series in terms of actual team fights, but a very macro-centered game is pretty fun to watch as well, and that's the fun part about HOTS for me. There's a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different styles that every team can play.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Now for everyone,
How's it going?
I'm doing good. For everyone in chat, I am joined here by a Ruffian, the healer for Clouded Minds. And first of all, congratulations on the 2-0 domination. How does it feel?
Feels great because in our first meeting they dominated us, so we were, really looking forward to a rematch, and so I'm feeling really great that we were able to pull that off.
Yeah, and it was a pretty interesting series as well, because I would argue that this series was very, very macro focused instead of those team fight focus series that we do commonly see. Now, was that part of the design for your roster, or did that just end up being played that way because of the maps?
I think the first time that we played them on 2 smaller maps, and it didn't seem to work out in our favor. So we thought maybe we'd try a little different type of style.
Well, it definitely seems to work out for you. Now, that game 1, you managed to get an early advantage and kind of, just with confident plays, were able to close it out, just always getting those extra structures. But game 2, you were behind for a good chunk. What was that like on the mentality and the comms for your team?
Well, obviously, whenever the other team has a garage, it changes everything about the way you can rotate around the map. So we had to play a lot more cautiously than we would have liked to, because you never know when Garrosh could be just sitting there in a bush, like waiting for somebody to step out of line. So it did kind of force us to play a little bit on our heels a bit for, a lot of that game. So that didn't feel great, but we just kept communicating and kept trying to make sure, we continue getting the soap. We were trying to pick up those camps as much as possible, keep the lanes pushing, and then just hope, we could win the team fight at the objective.
Yeah, it makes sense. And it did end up working out that way, especially at that last team fight that did end up winning you the game. But now, looking over at the standings, so with this win, especially with it being a domination, you are once again in that first place, though Roll One Esports could catch up once they play their 10th series. So now it is the 6 teams that are going to the playoffs. I believe they are either fully locked in or it's like very unlikely the Macro Machines will be able to make the playoffs. So are there any specific teams you'd like to play in the playoffs? And are there any teams you would want to avoid?
Honestly, as you said, we talked earlier and you mentioned that, the casts for this division have been really exciting this season. And I feel like these teams are pretty well matched in our division. And I don't feel like there's anybody we would necessarily, prefer to face. But, we're excited and ready to face any of the teams. And we had a blast playing against everybody. And we obviously didn't win out. They definitely, a lot of the teams took games off us or match off us. So it's been very back and forth. So all we can do is take what we learned, right? From the 2 times we that's the one nice thing about this type of division is you get to play everybody twice. So going into the playoffs, you have, a pretty good feel, I think, for each other's styles. So all we can do is take what we learned and try to apply it and go as far as we can in the playoffs.
Yeah, well said. Now, kind of going on that note, like you said, every team knows each other pretty well. They have to play each other at least twice. And just to take the example of today's match with Bunker Funtime, you said in your first series you lost on the small maps, but this time around you picked the bigger maps and you were able to come out on top. Now, what do you think that's going to do once the best of 5s come out? How much do you think the dynamic's going to change?
I think that it'll be really back and forth because the teams are really evenly matched. And I think the team that adapts the best to maybe not the best circumstances, for them, because you can't ban every map, obviously, is going to win a best of 5.
All right. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to those games. And one final question for you. Are there any shout outs you'd like to give? Is there anything you'd like to say to your fans out there?
Yeah. First of all, shout out to you. Thank you so much for the cast. I'm excited to watch it back. So thanks for taking the time to do that. And 2, I just got to shout out Bunker Funtime. That was a great match. You guys played amazing, and it'll be fun to face off again in the playoffs. And then I got to shout out my team who, worked really hard to get those wins tonight. Everybody played out of their minds. So great job, everyone. And I also would like to thank the other Clouded Minds members from the other team for supporting us in watching our match. And I think that covers everything. Thank you so much.
All right. And thank you for coming to the interview, and congrats again on your 2-0. You have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that will conclude our cast today. Now, originally, I wasn't going to be casting tomorrow because there were no games to cast. However, there will be a heroic game. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Tomorrow's Thursday. I am casting tomorrow. I thought today was Thursday and tomorrow's Friday. Yeah, tomorrow I do have a game at 7:30 Pacific. Division D, Phoenix Rising Amethyst versus FC Hong Kong. I believe these are the last teams that I haven't cast. I believe I've casted most other teams at the very least. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I tried to cast them last week, but unfortunately with the schedules changing, I wasn't able to do it. But this time around, gonna get that game going. And then, again, got a cast on Friday as well. Heroic Div, Boomer Gaming versus 9 to 5 at 7 Pacific. So Saturday gonna be my only day off, at least for NGS. I am casting on Arisen Esports if you want to watch some League of Legends action. But that'll be me signing off for the night. Thank you all for coming, and I'll see all of you tomorrow. You have a good night and take care.